so easy for anyone to walk into a health facility to seek for medical attention for their health condition. Unfortunately, same cannot be said for mental health for fear of stigmatization. Many people equate mental health to madness. But is that really the case? My name is Mawina Wakati, and this is Health Titbits on Ghana Districts TV. We are here to discuss the implications of ignoring our mental health with Dr. Olivia Chalak, who is a general practitioner at the Rich Hospital. Please stay, we'll be right back. Our guest for today is Dr. Olivia Chalak. Welcome, Doc.
Thank you, Mawina.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Doc, when we talk about mental health, what do we really mean by that?
Okay, mental health is a very broad subject, but when we mention mental health, we are talking about our general emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Okay. It includes the way we think, the way we act, and the way we even manage stress. Because at different times of your life, there are different stresses you have to manage. It also deals with how we are able to interact with the stresses and relate with people as well. So when we talk about mental health, it is a very wide spectrum of things.
How does stress relate to mental health? Stress, especially.
Stress is a very important component when we talk about your mental health. The things that bring stress, general things that bring stress, different stages of people's life, even changes in the things you do. A transition from school to work can bring stress. A transition in your marital status, being single and being married, can bring a new form of stress. Not having children and having children can bring you stress. Working and not working can bring you stress. Changes in your financial level, either upward or downwards, can bring you stress.
Changes in your financial
levels.
Yeah, it's true, you're right.
Yes. So as for stress, there are different forms of stress at different stages of an individual's life. Yes, so as for stress and the things that bring stress, even your health. If yesterday you were healthy and today you have a new diagnosis, it can bring another form of stress. And that has a very negative effect on your mental health, because not many people know how to cope with stress. And then it goes on to become complicated, and people, very regular, normal people, can now develop full-blown mental illnesses. Another one that is also known, you know, in your brain, there are certain, we call them neurotransmitters. They are the ways that, it's the way that the nerves in the brain communicates with each other. Have you ever gone on an exercising trip or something to exercise before?
Oh yeah.
Or maybe regular exercise.
Normal exercise, yes.
Normal exercise. Yeah. Have you noticed that sometimes when you go in, a lot of times when you exercise and you come back, you would see that you feel very good about yourself. There's a certain, I can do it. There's a certain happiness that you experience after exercising. That sense of happiness is produced by certain chemicals known as endorphins. Okay. So there are people who also actively regulate their moods by exercising. Okay. Because when you exercise, those chemicals are produced. So it is also known that a reduction in these chemicals that bring this feel-good sensations, when they are reduced in the brain, it can lead to certain diseases like depression. Okay. Common amongst them, serotonin, dopamine. So it's been noticed that people who are depressed have lower levels of these neurotransmitters. So they are biological causes of mental illnesses. Okay. And there are also social causes, environmental causes of mental illness. So for example, if you have a child who has been sexually abused at an early age, such a child is at risk of mental illness in the future. If you have a child who has had a very traumatic experience as a child, that child is also at risk. So for example, a family is attacked by armed robbers and the parent is shot. That child may never recover, never ever recover.
Do people really go to hospitals to report mental illness? Do they do that?
People, there's more awareness now.
Okay.
Even though the stigmatization still exists. On social media, you hear people use mental health terms very commonly recently. People will say things like, my OCD on this, you know, but OCD is actually a serious mental illness, you know. Yeah. And people will say, oh, I think I'm getting paranoid, but paranoia is a symptom of mental illness. So currently people are becoming more open about their mental health. People are coming out to talk about their mental illnesses. You see it a lot on social media these days, you know.
But Doc, let me ask you this. Why do people equate it to madness?
You see, right now, we do not, it's not acceptable to even use the term madness because it's used as a derogatory term. So, you see, in Ghana, for example, you see somebody walking on the streets, naked, dirty, talking to himself. That's an extreme form. That's most likely schizophrenia. That's a very severe mental illness. That is very chronic in itself. But mental illnesses are a spectrum. And sometimes you cannot easily find the line between the normal symptom and when it's getting too much.
Okay.
You know, the average person worries a bit.
Okay.
If some people want to be very clean, very prim and proper, they want to arrange their things, at what point does it become OCD?
No, there was this study that goes like, it says that at least.
Yes, oh, I agree because at different times in your life, based on situations that you have encountered, you yourself will begin to manifest a certain mental something. Sometimes people begin to make certain comments, so you also have to be careful what people say. Sometimes just what someone has said is the diagnosis of his mental illness. Because when you come and see a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist, the person is just going to talk to you. And based on what you are saying, your diagnosis will be said. You have someone, a colleague at work, who just says all of a sudden, I think I want to die. It's called suicide ideation. I think I want to kill myself. The person is on a high-rise building. The person says, one of these days I will jump. You know?
That's scary.
That's scary. Or maybe the person is a pharmacist and says, one of these days I'll give myself a lithium injection. They know how to kill themselves. You know? When you hear these comments, do not just laugh over it and go. If you are a little more concerned about the person, that should be a trigger for you to say that, okay, this person said, I feel like jumping. If you cast your mind back, you see that all of a sudden, this same person does not go for friends outings anymore. This person eats his or her lunch in his office. He doesn't come to the cafeteria. This person does not respond to messages, even on social media. If you watch it just a little, you'll see that the person is gathering a few of these pointers, and that is what you will see too. get a warning.
Wow, this is scary. on that scary note, we'll go for a quick commercial break and we will be right back. Welcome back. So our discussion for today is on the implications of ignoring our mental health with Dr. Olivia Chalak. Doc, how does taking drugs, hard drugs, alcohol, and other things affect our mental health?
Okay, so people who use these recreational drugs gradually develop misuse disorders. So the misuse disorder describes the particular recreational drug you are using. So you can have an alcohol misuse disorder. Now, the brain has something we call a reward system. Okay, so you see, when you feel like peeing and you get to pee, you see you have a certain relief. When you are hungry and then you eat, you have a certain relief. All these emotions have a way of tuning the mind. So these people are taking this alcohol because maybe there's a issue that is happening and they continue to take it. Now, sometimes for some reason the issue that was making them drink maybe is past. Now they want to stop. But the brain has learned that when I take this alcohol, I have this particular good feeling that I want a repeat of. So the brain undergoes a remodeling when you take some of these recreational drugs.
Is that what brings about the addictions?
Great. So at a point, the people with misuse disorders are just trying to be normal. At a point, they get to a place where they begin to have withdrawal symptoms. So now, if you don't take the alcohol, you will vomit, you will have diarrhea, you will have severe headaches, you will feel very ill. So instead of having all these problems, let me just drink the alcohol. And there's something we also call tolerance. So maybe at first, if you get one bottle of beer, it will take you to that high. Your body will gradually increase in its tolerance. So now you need 2 bottles of beer to get the effect. With time, you need 3 bottles, 4 bottles, 5 bottles, and you keep going. Now, if it was just a mental health issue, we'll take it like that. All these recreational drugs have severe effects on the physical body as well.
What are some of those effects?
Alcohol, for example, destroys your liver. You see, the heart, the liver, the kidney, the brain are all linked. So if you successfully destroy your liver, your kidney is following. And when your kidney is out, your heart will go. And when your heart is out, your brain is also out. So now these people already have a problem of stopping. So sometimes the new problem they even develop at the beginning is social interactions. So you see, if you are somebody's son, your father will complain about it. That will even bring them a new form of stress. Consistent criticisms from parents, spouses, friends. And when they develop these addictions, it affects even their ability to work.
The person you talk to about your issues is very important. Doc, can you live without having any issues with your mental health?
You see, it's impossible to live, almost impossible to live without having anything that disturbs you.
Okay.
But the problem is how you manage the things that disturb you. You would always have things that happen. You know, sometimes it's not even something that happens to you. Sometimes you see something that happens to somebody and it can even put fear in your heart. You know, like you see a colleague or a friend who has gone to deliver and either did not come back or came back without the child. It's not something that happened to you, but it makes you know that these things are real, and it has a way of even affecting you. But it is how you manage those things that come. Bereavement. Even if your parents are 200 years, they may die at a point. How do you handle it? You know, maybe there's a change in your workplace. You were in department A, you've been moved to department B. And there are so many things that are not under our control. Maybe you live in a flood-prone area. Today it rained in Accra, the gutters were choked, your house is flooded. How do you handle some of these issues? I read a book by Bishop T.D. Jakes, The Lady, Her Lover, and the Lord. One of the points in the book is that you are your first preacher. You know, David encouraged himself. There are so many times that you are the one who should stop telling yourself the wrong things and begin to tell yourself the right things and gradually believe it. Over time, people have told themselves that I am not talented, I am not beautiful, I am not good enough, and I can never make it. They have told themselves. Why don't you stop and tell yourself the others that I am good enough, I'm well able to overcome this, I am beautiful, I'm intelligent, and I can make it.
So your last word, this is your cover, your last words to our lovely viewers.
I just want to say that, like any other illness, mental illnesses are not different from malaria. They are not different from hypertension. If you have hypertension, you have headaches, you will go and see a health professional for a solution. If you see that your state of mental health is deteriorating, seek help from the right places. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chalak. I'm so honored to have you around.
I'm excited I'm here.
You've heard it all for yourself from Dr. Olivia Chalak, who is a general practitioner at the Ridge Hospital. My name is Mawena Wakati, and this is Health Titbits on Ghana Districts TV. Thanks for watching.